Hello, my name is Faisal Khan. You will see a lot of development that is happening in the fintech space. You will see coins coming out with decentralized finance in the cryptocurrency world. You see all these projects coming out, decentralized Facebook, decentralized storage, decentralized this, decentralized that, blockchain this, consensus that, etc. One of the primary problems you will face, or you will have to, it's not a problem per se, it's something you will have to do, is you will have to do KYC again and again. And as part of the KYC process, I decided to make this video, and it's about identity. So I live in Istanbul, which is in Turkey, and I have something issued by the local government called a foreigner ID, a foreign ID. And it's basically my ID card. Turns out that majority of all the exchanges out there don't understand what a foreign ID card means in Turkey. Simply put, they understand the local Turkish ID card, which is for a Turkish citizen. They understand the passport, but they don't understand the foreign ID card. It's all, machine readable, etc. But they just don't understand it because they've never programmed it into the system. So I decided to ask a few places. It turns out many places in Europe that offer such a temporary residence permit, and many other non-European nations and across Africa, etc., that offer residence permits or ID cards for foreigners, they're just not accepted or not known by the system. Well, that's just a small part. The identity issue, it becomes such an important and not only an important thing, but also becomes a stumbling block. For example, I signed up at this EMI, Electronic Money Institution, to open an account just to check how they were. And the amount of paperwork I had to submit was unbelievable. And they said it very clearly. It's the fact that, you're from a high-risk country, you're born there, resident there, etc. But the amount of paperwork I had to provide was really unbelievable. The very same country from where I was applying for this EMI, there was another EMI I applied for. I got approved in under, I think it was a day or two. So, the compliance vastly varies between the company and the country you are working in. The other thing is, you go to one exchange, you have to give it again. You go to the other exchange, you have to give it again. You have to do the third exchange, you have to give it again. Yet, if those exchanges accept Google as an authentication measure for your email and password and access, I can't do that with my ID. There is no one ID place where I can do my ID, get a token out, and this token is used everywhere. Identity is a huge issue that is really still not being solved. And by the way, it's not going to be one formula that will solve it all. I think it's going to be a very complex formula that will solve it all. Imagine in this day and age, one of the biggest requirements was, can you provide your proof of address? Okay, what would you like? Utility bill. But guess what? They didn't know how to read the utility bill, because it wasn't in the system. They said, no, provide us some other utility bill. Well, there's only one utility bill that I get, and that's for the electricity. What other utility bill could I provide you? They said, no, get us something else. And I didn't have anything else. Well, I couldn't get approved. What about South Asia, Southeast Asia, the large part of MENA, which is Middle East and North Africa, the Caucasus, etc.? A lot of people live with their parents. Guess in whose name the utility bill is? It's in their parents' name. Maybe sometimes in their grandparents' name, or uncle or aunt or sister or sibling or what have you. How do you prove identity when you can't have a utility bill in your name? Do they not understand what a joint family is? In a joint family, so many families are living. Not everyone can get an identity. But what about social, signals? Surely we can use some social signals with some time-based, time-lapsed content. You can't just suddenly put content up all in one day. If it has been put out for the last 10 years, surely that has a value to it. And then people vouching for you, I know you, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. So that if you try to game the systems, you can't, because you'll have to basically create a legend and, massage that legend for many, many years before you can actually game the system, which many people are not willing to do. So if you are a genuine person, you should be able to look from your cell phone data, right? Where your geographical data is concerned, from your cell tower data. You know what, this guy has been in this area for 80% or 83% of the time. chances are he lives in this block, and if you give an address, it should be accepted because you're always in that block, and your cell phone data, triangulation tower data is telling you that you're in this block. In countries like Pakistan, where I'm from, every person over the age of 18 is biometrically verified. So we have our fingerprints and our, retina, etc., all in the system. But no identity company says, hey, you know what? Touch your fingerprint. We will send this fingerprint to the National Database Authority in Pakistan and get a flag, yes or no, that if you're the right person with this name and DOB and so, etc. They don't do that. Why? Because perhaps they don't give that much preference to all the developing countries. Perhaps they don't give preference to the emerging markets. Perhaps the economies of scales are different. Perhaps the Pareto values of what the 20% that is generating 80% of their income is where they want to, settle at. But the world has 220 countries and territories. There is a huge, huge population swath that is out there that still is not truly identified. And getting them, if you're going to talk about digital inclusion and financial inclusion, that identity is a huge issue and huge part of that. And I feel that there are a lot of companies that are missing the point, even like these exchanges, like I mentioned, that are really not paying full attention as to what identifiable details are available in each ecosystem and in each society. Not only that, but how can we use social signals? How can we use all these modern apps that people are using and generating thousands of lines of code and data, identifiable data every single day? How can we use that to identify a person? Let me know what you think about the identity problem. Let me know how you would solve it. Think about Somalia, think about Egypt, think about places where, Israel, think about Sub-Saharan Africa, think about, Latin America, think about the Russia and Ukraine, etc. How can you feel that the identity problem can be solved in such places? Let me know in the comments below. If you have a question or a comment, otherwise, there's a contact form in the description below. Please fill it out. I'll be happy to answer. Till next time, stay safe. This is Faisal Khan, signing out.